Hello everyone and welcome to today's ShipHero webinar. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me. We'll start in a moment. Let's wait a minute for more people to join. Okay, thank you all for joining our webinar on how Pipe17 and ShipHero make e-commerce fulfillment easier. I want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and you'll receive the full recording via email once we're done. Okay, so let's kick it off. My name is Danno Starc, Marketing Manager for ShipHero, and I'll be your moderator for today. With me are the following heroes: Gary Mirsky, our VP of SaaS Sales, Valerie Cancian, our Product Manager, and John Gettinger, Pipe17's Chief Marketing Officer. And this is our agenda for today. First, we'll explore the problem we're solving and how ShipHero solves part of this problem. Then we'll introduce you to Pipe17 and the benefits of the integration. We will explain how Pipe17 works with ShipHero warehouse management software. And finally, we will have a Q&A panel. So we encourage you to post your questions in the chat. So Gary, please take it away.
Great. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We just wanted to talk a little bit about what we do and how we work with Pipe17. If you're familiar with what we do, we're all about facilitating your orders and getting them out the door to your consumer. So what you can see here is we'll take those orders, whether you're coming from your Shopify store, BigCommerce, or Amazon, bring it in, receive those orders, make it easy for you to pick, pack, ship, and then connect to your carrier, make it easy to get that product out. And we have some natural connections in there where obviously to carriers, to Shopify and some other ones, but we know that you and everybody's business is a little bit different. And so there's opportunities to connect to other areas that we aren't doing natively. Things like your financial software, or maybe you're in some marketplaces that are unique to your industry. Maybe you're running your business on an ERP. And so those type of connections, we support some, but there's a lot that are better off being done by people who do that professionally. And so that's why we work and partner with Pipe17. So Dan, if we could hit the next slide. And so, before I pass it over, for us, it's really important that we provide for you and our customers lots of different options and applications to connect with. And that's how we work with Pipe17. So John, if you want to grab.
Yeah. Hey, thanks everybody. Hey, welcome, and thanks for giving us a listen here. I'm John Gettinger. I'm the head of marketing here at Pipe17. A little bit about us just before I get into the deeper stuff that we do here. We're a 3-year-old startup, and we're all, the founders and myself. We all came from kind of the enterprise software world. We worked at companies like Oracle and VMware, and we were building large software systems to handle, large company problems. And we got very interested in the e-commerce space. And, one of the things that we noticed was that, even small, medium-sized merchants and sellers were having, struggling with what we consider to be enterprise class problems. And, we thought that there was a really opportunity to build some really powerful software for merchants and sellers out there. And so we started Pipe17 about 3 years ago. We're backed by GLP, which is one of the big investors in this e-commerce space. They basically own all the warehouse space and logistics space that Amazon and Walmart rent from. They run about $82 billion under management, and they also have a VC fund. So they fund a lot of e-commerce logistic companies, including us. And so we're here to try to change the game for merchants and give them very powerful capabilities, but in an easy to use package. Next slide, please. And so the problem that we went after, that when I said earlier, this enterprise class problem, it really was, we saw that merchants and sellers were dealing with a big inhibitor in their pursuit to expand their businesses, and there's this need to get onto more channels and more places to sell your products. There's another big trend that we noticed out there was this e-commerce retail convergence, where more and more merchants, I think in the wake of COVID, we're starting to realize we need an online store in addition to our physical store, and we've got to make this all work together. So that's been a big trend that's also driving, I think, a lot of growth in the industry. And then on the back end, there's a bigger desire. Once again, I think a lot of this came out of the pandemic, where people who were exclusively on Amazon were suddenly realizing wow, Amazon doesn't want to sell my stuff anymore. They're prioritizing other people's stuff or their own. And I don't have anywhere else to fulfill from. So I better get my act together. Or, I want to try to optimize my fulfillment around, locations or things like that. And I know ShipHero helps out a lot in that, but there's always gaps and things to fill in the middle of that. And the challenge, the thing that was getting in the way of a lot of this growth and profit margin increasing was, the e-commerce landscape. It's just, there's hundreds of different applications that need to talk to each other. And, to me, the clear thing is that for a great business to run and to scale and to grow, you need to have these applications working in lockstep and getting rid of all the friction between them. So there's a lot of data gaps between applications. Some of the examples we always throw out there are things like SKU mismatches. Some systems have a different SKU nomenclature than others, or Amazon uses ASINs. And so, there's always these little mismatches that need to be managed. There's things like bundles. Some channels do bundles, some don't. Things like that. The other big problem is that there's a lot of change in e-commerce. People are trying out new systems. There's new 3PLs coming in or going out, and so kind of managing all this integration and making it all work is very hard because there's a lot of dynamic change in the situation. And then finally, the big thing that we started to see is that there really wasn't anyone out there as a business, as a tech company, really trying to help the users make all the pieces work together as a solution. It's what I call making it all work is your problem. Like, here's, the WMS ShipHero, and here's your channels, and here's, your ERP or your OIMS, and making it all work as a single solution. There wasn't really anyone trying to help the customers do that. And so we saw that there was really a big problem there for customers, that there was a lot of tools and things, but gluing it all together and keeping it running and healthy was really no one's problem with the customer. And so that was kind of the challenge we saw for a lot of the merchants and sellers out there. Then when you looked at what was available in terms of tooling and whatnot, on one end you have APIs. Everybody's got an API. They're great because you can get data out of them. And for someone like me who's been in the industry a long time, it's just a huge benefit to see that every modern application has an API. But the flip side of it is that APIs aren't a solution. And so you still got to build and maintain all that code that lives between that API, or have someone else come in and build it for you. So that's on one end. You had APIs that are very flexible and very granular, but you got to glue it all together. On the other end, you have things like integration platforms, which are tool sets that have come in from the enterprise world. And I used to work for a company that made one, so we know a lot about those. But once again, they're built for developers. And they're complicated. They definitely are better than writing code, but they're still, they're complex. They're not something that a typical, merchant's going to be able to do on their own. And so you wind up bringing in, once again, system integrators, expensive people to kind of glue it all together and make it work for you. And then, when you need a change, you have to come in and have them kind of redo it again for you. So there was this funny dynamic around this. Vendors definitely offer a lot of connectivity. ShipHero does too. But, as Gary mentioned, there's gaps that need to be filled. And sometimes, some of the connectors work better than others. Or, we had a prospect talk to us a few weeks ago, and they said, they were using a vendor, I won't name their name, but they were using a connector from the vendor to talk to Shopify. Shopify is a common connector. Everybody's got one. And I'm like, well, why are you guys talking to us? And they said, well, it takes the orders in from Shopify, but it doesn't send the fulfillment information back to Shopify. And I'm like, you're kidding me. They said, no, it's like, it gives us the order, but it doesn't send any of the data back. So, there's just a varying in quality on this thing. I'm not saying, obviously not everybody's like this, but the vendor solutions can be spotty. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not good. So how do you so the status quo was not satisfactory. And that's really what we built Pipe17 to solve this problem and these challenges. Want to go to the next slide? So what is Pipe17? We like to think of it as operations infrastructure for e-commerce businesses. And basically the big idea here is, and people like to use this word integration, and I encourage people to think beyond what does it mean when people say, I need an integration platform, I want to integrate. Really to me, it's about, keeping an application like ShipHero working in lockstep with the flow of orders and inventory that are going into the business. So that working in lockstep is really what we're trying to get to, is that, when an order comes in, there's a whole cycle around that. I've got to fulfill it. I've got to update inventory. I got to do this. There might be, 5 or 10 different steps that happen. And so having that happen like clockwork precision is what we're all trying to get to when we say integration. And so what Pipe17 is cloud-based infrastructure that lets people create these sort of lockstep scenarios with more than 50 e-commerce applications. And so and the big idea here is 2 things. One is we focus exclusively on e-commerce. So we go a lot deeper in terms of fulfilling and supporting the applications that merchants and sellers care about. So, we have return system integrations. We have wholesale and B2B. So things that, the big guys probably won't support, or they'll, try to come in and do it for you as a custom job. We have out of the box connectivity for it. So it's a no code, kind of no IT required solution. So it's once again designed for e-commerce merchants. So it doesn't require, you learn Perl or Python or any of this PHP or any of that stuff. You can just set it up as easily as you can set up something like a HubSpot. It's really, where it really excels is in terms of helping people create multi-channel solutions, whether multi-channel on the front end, where you've got, lots of orders coming in from lots of different sources, or multi-channel on the fulfillment side, where, you might be using, something like ShipHero in a bigger configuration and multiple different sort of back-end services. And we have inside of Pipe17, we have built-in workflows that let you create these scenarios. And kind of key among them is our omni-channel order routing. So we can set up these order routing networks between different sources and destinations, and you can route these orders based on all kinds of different rules. And I'll talk a little bit in a minute about what, how that works. Some of the ways you can use that. We also offer things I said earlier, SKU matching, bundling. So, Shopify's famous for not really having a bundle option on their platform. There's a lot of plugins that you can buy on the Shopify store that'll do bundling, but they don't do bundling on the back end, and that's the problem. Like they'll help you create a bundle in Shopify, but then when you try to fulfill that bundle, unless your back end, your fulfillment service offers some kind of bundling, you're gonna be out of luck, and you're gonna be kind of hand managing that. And so we have what I call omni-channel bundling, which lets you create bundles between any source and destination. And we do things like inventory sync between channels and things like that. But it's all easy to set up and use. Doesn't require any code. The other thing that we offer is we monitor the entire order to fulfillment lifecycle. So we're a transactional system, which means that as an order leaves your store, your Shopify store, or your marketplace, we watch that order as it's moving through the cycle until it's finally fulfilled and done with. And so what that means for you, the customer, the user, is that if anything breaks down along the way, we're going to let you know. And so, once again, we've seen other systems in the industry that, they're batch based. And so you might move like 100 orders or 1,000 orders in once a day. If something breaks inside that batch, you got to go hunt around where it is. And in our system, when something breaks, we say, hey, hello, something's wrong here. You need to go look at it. Because we know, endpoints go down and credit card didn't get processed, or there's a SKU mismatch somewhere. And so, you're not going to be able to fix every problem through automation, but what you do want is that visibility and alerting when something goes wrong, that you can zero in on it. So we have also, it's a modern cloud-based system. We built it in AWS, Amazon's Web Services. And, for you technical people, it's a serverless system. So it scales, instantly can scale out. So if you have, high performance situations, we have a customer who does regular flash sales where they'll go from, a couple of hundred orders a day to like 2,000 orders in an hour. And so, they need to be able to have something that scales up really rapidly and doesn't drop any orders and keeps the inventory in sync as they're going through this. And so they use Pipe17 in that situation to do that. But yeah, we have really outstanding performance, reliability, modern security. Everything's, end-to-end encrypted. And then, we designed Pipe17 because, like Gary said, every merchant's different. Everybody runs their business in slightly different ways. So the configurability and the ability to set it up is kind of key in the design of the system. And so you can use Pipe17 to do point-to-point integration. So if you say, hey, I'm using ShipHero here. I love it. It's got Shopify, BigCommerce, everything coming to ShipHero. But I need NetSuite in there, or I want to bring in Civ7 or, or OrderHive or something. Can Pipe17 just do that? And the answer is yeah. You don't have to have all the features. It can be set up to just solve a simple point-to-point integration, and we price it accordingly. So, you don't have to spend, the big, everything to get everything. If you just need it for point-to-point integration, you can buy and deploy it for that scenario. Or you can use it to solve complex multi-channel problems. And we have customers who, like I said, they're using order routing to optimize, their fulfillment costs between Amazon and another channel. Like Amazon, has a limit on, if you have more than 12 items on an order, the cost goes way up. So maybe I want to do, fulfillment in another way, or I have it self-fulfill, or, things like that, or I want to use ShipHero in the middle of this. So you've got, we could solve kind of complex multi-channel problems and let you create the solution that you want to create that works best for your business. Next slide, please. So Gary, maybe we talk a little bit about this. We give ShipHero users a lot of horsepower here, as I said, to solve different problems, but there's a couple things in particular that I want to point out. So one of the benefits you get from using Pipe17 is you can expand your business faster. So, if you want to be, you might be on Walmart and Amazon today. Hey, let's get on to Etsy, eBay. Well, we have connectors for that. So, you can instantly kind of expand your footprint of your business with us. And like I said, we can set up connections in, an hour sometimes, or, certainly 10 or 20 times faster than anybody else out there. So if you want to add new marketplaces, you've got a shopping cart that you're using that's not, ShipHero doesn't support today. Yes, you can do that with us. You can create what we call frictionless operations. So you want to get your front office, your selling channel, your fulfillment channel, your back office, all working in lockstep, so that you don't have any people involved in there, and you get all the friction out of there, and the spreadsheets and all that. Yes, you can do that there. I've talked a bit about optimizing fulfillment and intercepting fulfillment problems. So if you've got if something gets blocked with an order, we're going to catch that when it happens and alert you. So a lot of times we'll be out. We've heard from a lot of customers that many times they don't find out they have had a problem until the customer calls up and says, "Where's my order?" Or I thought this went through, and everyone's like, "Yeah, I thought it went through too." And in our world, we'll catch that for you, and we'll alert you when that happens. So the other benefit I think I mentioned earlier, it's very fast to implement. So we're generally about 10 times, and I mean that, seriously, not abstractly. We're about 10 times faster to implement than any other solution out there. So if you're using, an iPaaS or any sort of, code-based or even visually code-based solution, we're at least 10 times faster. We're getting people live on NetSuite in hours. Where normally that's 6 weeks or 3-month projects. We've got people up and running in an hour in some cases. The other thing is it's very change tolerant. So this is something I didn't realize until I got deeper into the industry. But people, when we build integrations today, they tend to be point to point. And so if you make a change in your environment anywhere, you need to kind of unpack everything and redo it and kind of put everything back in the box again. And in our world, hey, I want to add eBay to my configuration. You just plug in the connector and it works. And so, if you need to make a change to your environment or anything, you just change out the connector. You may have to do a little bit of tweaking, but generally our system, the intelligence is built in the system. And this is one of the advantages of just focusing on e-commerce and orders and inventory, these business objects, is that we can put a lot more intelligence into the platform. So it's very change tolerant. It's very easy to work with, and it's very easy to implement. And then in terms of cheaper, we've created a pricing model. So once again, if you look at these big integration tools, a lot of times they want you to spend a bunch of money up front, bring in a consulting team, get it all working, and then you're kind of at steady state and you pay yearly. Ours is a very affordable pay-as-you-go pricing. We've tried to build it once again that aligns with how the industry likes to work, which is you sign up for something, we give you a 30-day free trial, you start using it, and then as you grow, the price you pay grows with you. Not tremendously, but we don't try to charge you a boatload of money up front to get the thing off the ground. So that's So next slide, please. So just a little deeper dive into how Pipe17 is used. So there's a couple ways. As I mentioned, it's a pretty flexible configuration option. So we don't have to be the system of record, or we can be the system of record. So different businesses want different things. In some cases, in this particular configuration, Pipe17 is acting as sort of the central hub. You might, in your business, want NetStreet as a central hub, and there's a lot of good reasons for that, or Sin7 or Bright Pearl, one of those things. But in this particular model, we're just showing Pipe17 as the hub. And so on the left, you've got your shopping cart, your marketplace, and you can have multiple shopping carts. So we have businesses, aggregators who are using us that are running 20 brands, Amazon and Shopify brands. And you don't need, you can run that all off of one account, and we keep it all organized and managed for you. But basically, and then in our world, the shopping cart, we look at point of sale is another thing that we support. So the point of sale, but basically all order sources kind of come into Pipe17. We send fulfillments back out. Products and inventory are kept in sync. Once again, some customers like to keep their product master in something like ShipHero. Some of them want to keep it in their ERP. Some of them want to keep it in Shopify. And so we can sync out from whatever point in your configuration that you want to do that from. And then on the back end, we talk to something like ShipHero's orders. We take performance out and make sure that all the other systems know about it. The products we have going into ShipHero that could easily be going in the other direction. Basically, that's typically how the data flow works in our system. And then in the middle, the order routing and bundles and SKU mapping is all managed inside of Pipe17. You've got a console you can set that up in, and once that's set up, it just runs. It's like a network router, so to speak. It just runs. Ideally, it just runs, and you don't really have to touch it if it's doing its job the right way.
Awesome. Well, John had pretty much already explained all this very well. This is just a quick recap of how Pipe17 is just working with ShipHero. Just an overview. Quick little recap. It gives you full control, that whole lockstep, as John was saying, between your orders and your inventory across all of your channels. Sends information between ERPs or OIMS, order and inventory management systems. And a big thing that I know this addresses when I would speak with customers is when we don't have a direct integration, they often use things like Excel and lots of spreadsheets, and they will upload it in their one system, and they will upload it in ShipHero, and then they export things from ShipHero, and they upload it in their other system. And it just adds a lot of man hours, a lot of room for error. And this integration would pretty much prevent that because it will take care of all that back and forth for you. So I don't want to reiterate everything John said, but basically this is just a recap of that. And then I do see Laura has a question here. Will this be an option for 3PLs to offer to their clients? Yes. Right?
Yeah. And the answer is yeah, for sure. I mean, ultimately, we want the client, right? Like, so, Laura, it's about the merchant. So if one of your clients has a need to connect to their accounting system and through, want to know their inventory and flow back and forth, absolutely work with Pipe17 connects. Some of those connectors are probably already built with ShipHero, and then you can add extra value to them. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, talk to Gary about that. But sure, we'd love, any of the 3PLs that are using ShipHero WMS. We have the connector for it now, so it's like instant. Like you can definitely use us as part of your solution set, and just check with Gary on how you'd like to do that, and we'll figure it out for you. We'll put our heads together and make it happen.
Thank you, Laura, for that great question. I know everyone else has been waiting to ask questions as well. So now we open the Q&A session. Just type them in the chat and I'll read them out loud for our panel.
Don't be shy.
I think John's coverage was less like, you nailed everything.
It was very thorough, very thorough.
Okay, we have a question from Mark. Does this platform support RTV process?
I have to get back to you. So we support, we've got 2 return services we connect with now, Returnly and Loop. We'll have out pretty soon. We don't, if RTV is a process that lives in ShipHero, I don't think we support it today, but if that's something that you're interested in, we can talk about it. We can generally add, new data types and things like that pretty quickly. So if it's something that, we think is something that a lot of customers are going to want, then yeah, we'll add that to the support thing. But just check with Gary and the ShipHero team, and we're happy to take that offline and see if we can help you.
Yeah, we have some native return integrations, but if there's something that's not, then I think it's something we could there's the possibility to work with Pipe17 on as well.
Yep. If you can, Mark, if you can please send this question as an email to support@shiphero.com. Our support team will help you out with this. Any further questions? Another question by Laura. Is there a limit on how many connections can run at one time, i.e. Amazon plus Shopify plus Walmart plus API sales platform, etc.?
No. We designed this to be a multi-channel solution. So we've got customers. We have some these aggregators are now showing up. We have a few aggregator customers now who are running dozens of Shopify and Amazon stores through us, and so we're not limited on connections or anything like that. We can run as much as you can throw at us. We can handle it.
Okay.
That sounds.
If there's no further questions, we'll end the Q&A panel. But if you want to reach out to us privately, you can send us an email to hello@shiphero.com. And I just wanted to thank everyone attending today and also our wonderful panel. My name is Danno, and it's been amazing to be your moderator. Don't forget that you received the link to our recording via email. Thank you very much for joining us today, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.